Hello, today I'd like to show you how to use the Christmas Light Exact Pricing House Only module. And the way we're going to do that is first we're going to head over to our settings and go to services. And this is where you'll see all of your modules, your active and your inactive modules. As you can see, I have a couple Christmas Light modules that are inactive in this test account, but I also have a couple that are active. Both of them are house only. One is rough and the other is exact. This is the one we're going to talk about today, and of course if you want to make it inactive versus active, you can just click on the plus sign and move it to whichever tab you'd like. Once you've got it activated and you want to, or you can actually work on it while it's inactive as well, but once you want to edit it, you can just click on the name, and you'll see that there's 4 steps. Here in step 1, you'll see that you're basically going to nickname or describe this module, and then you'll decide how you want your packages to lay out. Now you can use individual items or you can use package items. Individual means that there will just be one price given based off of specifications. Package items allow you to actually turn on up to 3 packages. You have 3 value propositions. You can kind of differentiate a few different options. And this is a great idea. We recommend it because it allows you to price against yourself, and the close rate will dramatically go up as you get to price against yourself instead of them calling the competition. Now, there is one other thing I'd like to point out. This link right here, if you click that, that's will take you to the page where this video is located, and also there'll be a write-up of different ninja tricks that you can use to get this module tuned just the way you'd like. Now, once you've gotten step 1 set up and you know how you'd like your value propositions to line up and stack against each other, you'll notice that there is an hourly rate option, a place that you could click and actually put in your man hourly rate. That is useful if in step 3 you decide to price by time instead of hour, or instead of price. This is where that price would be derived per man hour. So in step 2, this is where we set up the questions. Now there is usually a video option in your account probably, where you can actually put a video that is not a marketing video, but maybe a video to help people understand how to fill out the bid. And to do that, there are instructions in the documentation underneath this video in the documentation area. Again, if you click this link. Now, the next thing that really makes this different than the rough pricing is that this is where you will allow your customers to be able to give you a number of linear feet for different items that need to be decorated. These linear feet will be priced by the linear foot in the next step, but you can add as many conditions as you'd like, and you can actually even get rid of, by enabling editing, you can actually delete a step. So if you delete it and then you decide that you want to turn it back on, you can just turn it back on, and there it is. You can reorder things as you'd like. Now, if you decide to rename something, just keep in mind that by renaming this, you don't want to change its meaning. You may want to change the vernacular for your area. But if someone says that they had a certain number of window perimeter linear feet, and you change this to say something that's different than that, just keep in mind that all of your old bids will still be run, but they'll call this whatever you call it. So it'll actually throw off your old bids, especially if you end up changing the pricing relating to it. So just keep that in mind. Now, once you've got all the how many areas set up, then you would now go into the fine-tune area. And this question here will take into account the height of the house, and these questions will allow you to choose other factors that you may want to grab. In this case, we only have one right now. And of course, I should have mentioned before, if you'd like to change any of the pictures or descriptions, this is how you would do that. You can choose a different picture, you can put a different description in there. The same will apply for all of these. Now, I should say, in the smart form, if we were to choose Christmas lights and we go ahead and choose the exact pricing, this is where you would allow them to say how many feet of linear feet of roof line that need to be done. Maybe they'll decide they want to put in how many linear feet of railings, so they can put in a number. This is how your person giving the bid would interact with it. Also, this is where those electrical outlets and any descriptions that are put in place for the heading, they'll show up there. So to take you back, this is that description right there is going to translate to be this description right here. So Once you've got everything lined up here, oh, and I should say that, again, when you edit this area, you'll notice that we put a description in for this item. Well, in this area, when you hover over that, that's where that description would show up. So those are how your descriptions would work. And then as you can see, we have a step 3 here about the garage. Do you have a garage? And this is where they can describe their garage situation. Again, you can add as many factors as you'd like in these different areas, and then that will give them something to choose from. Once they've chosen all those areas, now we need to go to step 3 and determine how to price them out. So for every linear foot of roof line, we're charging $3.50 for the basic value proposition, $4.25 for the deluxe value proposition, and the premium will come in at $4.75. Again, lined up with that value proposition. All of these items here will also come into play and have their own pricing that's, again, lined up with the different value propositions. You can see that for house height and access, this is where you would charge for, say, ladder work. In this case, we're ignoring the ladder work of the basement. You can see that if you wanted to charge, you could. For the 1-story, you're leaving it alone, and for 2-story, it looks like there's a $25 surcharge for the small house, $35 surcharge for the medium house, and these numbers could fluctuate. They are standard throughout all packages here, but if your premium package required extra ladder work to accomplish the goal, this is where you could actually charge more for that if you wanted. In this case, 3-story is setting a bid in person flag, so if you wanted to go ahead and let bids for 3-story go through, you can, but by having this set, anyone who indicates they have a 3-story house will not get a price until the override is placed. So that's how you take care of ladder work and access charges. These other factors, you can see that we're tacking on $10 per electrical outlet. You could just as easily say that you're going to take $10 off for each electrical outlet that they provide for you. I know that a lot of people want to charge for the different power strips and power supplies that they need to provide. So sometimes you'll need to deal with these accordingly. And you can see that no price is going to get added on for a no detached garage or no garage at all. But you can see here that these are all upcharged by dollar, and for decorating basic, deluxe, and premium. You can see the different prices as they go up. And then for other, of course, since they don't know what it is, this account has it set to be bid in person. Now, one other thing I'm going to point out here is that in the base price area, you can only choose dollars, hours, or minutes. So in this case, it's saying $3.50 per linear foot. You could also say, and once you set up your deluxe premium, your hourly rates, you could also change it to it'd be 1 minute per linear foot or 3 minutes per linear foot. And in that case, ResponsiBid would actually use the hourly rate calculated by the total amount of time that ResponsiBid expects you to take. But if I change this to hours or minutes, it will be 3.5 hours or 3.5 minutes. So you'll need to definitely edit that to line up with what you want it to be, because just changing this label is not going to change this value until you correct it. So that's everything as far as pricing goes. The next and final step is where your area minimum, house size minimum, and trip charges will be taken into account. The way that works is, let's head on over to your form builder. And you can see in the form builder, this is where you've set up all your house sizes and also your house size minimums. So you can set these up and allow that module in this area to say, if the price comes in under what I'm going to charge for this house size at a minimum, then this price would override the calculated prices. Same for service areas. You can say that for each service area, and of course, hopefully you've added all your service areas and put in your zip code and added them. You can set minimums for each package, and you can set trip charges for those packages. So if the price comes in below these and this, the highest minimum will always win, whether for the house and the area. And then a trip surcharge will automatically get added on whenever that's going to apply for a particular city. So if you turn these on, the form builder will dictate kind of those items. Now you can also set a dollar minimum. You could just set up an additional minimum of saying, I'm never going to do any job for less than $99 for each package. And what this would do is it would make it so that if the calculated price came in below that, this would be considered in, but I already saw that the area minimums are higher than this, I believe. Oh, well, the premium is. So this area, if someone chose Phoenix, this area minimum would override the other. And it's thundering outside. So that dollar minimum can be turned on. You can also enter a quantity minimum that says there must be at least 10 linear feet of roof line to decorate, and you can choose to either prompt or not prompt the customer. What that means is that if you say don't prompt the customer, that means that if they say they only have 1 linear foot or 0 linear feet of roof line, ResponsiBid will still count as if they had 10. Or you can leave it so that it will prompt the customer, and what will happen is if I go to the smart form and the customer or the bid's being given, and we go ahead and go with the exact pricing, if I was to say, here we go, that the roof line, I only had 5 linear feet, well, when I click continue to go down, it's going to say you have to have 10 or more of those. So this is a way that you can prompt the customer. But if I was to leave that as not to prompt the customer, then that would make it so that the price would go ahead and just run, and we would just assume 10 anyway. And that's true for all of these items. You can also do a total quantity of how many. So everything in this section, everything here, must add up to a certain amount if you put a number in this area. So that way you could say they have to at least have one of something, you know, and that would make a lot of sense. I'm sorry, this is for the how many total quantity, and this is for the electrical outlets. And then if you take all the factors combined, this includes electrical outlets, this would be everything combined. Now, volume discounts. If you want to say, hey, for everybody who has more than 200 linear feet of roof line, I'm going to deduct $1 or a percentage off of their tab. So maybe we'll give $10 off for anyone who has 200 or more, and maybe we'll give, for someone who has 1,000, maybe we'll give them 5% off. So ResponsiBid will always give the largest discount possible that someone qualifies for, and that's of course for roof line. But you can use any of these other options for that, and you can do discounts for other factors such as the electrical outlets. The final thing here after the volume discounts is the bid disclaimer. This is where you can actually set it up so that with every proposal there will be a disclaimer, and if for some reason everything comes in as bid in person, instead of showing the proposal, this is the message that the customer would see. So now that we've got that all set up, I've already run a test bid. Let me take you over to it here. And here we have Jack Bauer, who we open up Christmas lights, and you can see that Jack had 100 linear feet of railings and pillars, 250 linear feet of roof line, and so on. Okay, so these are the numbers that we have, and this is the prices that were calculated. Now, we've made a couple changes since then, so I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And you can see that there's the discount for 200 or more feet of roof line to decorate. There's the $10 off, and the 100 or more roof line didn't apply, so that one isn't there. But you can also see that we got $30 off because there was 10, here we are, 10 electrical outlets, or 3 electrical outlets at $10 each, so there's $30. And we can make adjustments as necessary, but you can kind of play around with your pricing and make sure that it's all making sense. And if you ever have a question about how something was calculated, you can see that the roof line here is $875, but the railings is only $350. So I hope that helps, and if you ever have any other questions, never hesitate to reach out to us. But this is how you would use the Christmas Lights Exact Pricing House Only module.